This is the fourth part of a series of videos about consensual incest. The previous videos have described our plight around the world, how we are persecuted and prosecuted globally despite there being absolutely no solid legitimate argument for keeping incest illegal. As a campaigner for our people, I want to give the public more information about us to enable them to give them access to our side of the story. I do this to reduce the amount of ignorance and fear that people feel towards us, and to help change public attitudes. Only when this is achieved can we become the fully integrated and accepted part of society that we want to be. We aren't much different from anyone else, we're contributing members of society that you never see. We are your friends, your neighbors, your work colleagues, your mates you speak to on a night out, even possibly your family. We exist in every country, within every ethnic and religious group. By necessity we are secretive, but we want that to change. This fourth video is for anyone who has discovered that a friend or family member is consanguineous. Many people freak out at hearing such news. While most people are ready to accept a friend or relative if they turn out to be homosexual, those same understanding and tolerant people suddenly become much less tolerant and understanding when they discover that somebody close to them is having an incestuous relationship. Their minds go into overdrive and they make all sorts of assumptions which are based on societal prejudice and misinformation about the subject. Firstly, I would urge you not to automatically assume that one of them is in any way abusing or taking advantage of the other. This is rarely the case. It is easy to make such assumptions because this is all society knows, or at least thinks that it knows. If the couple are happy together, and if they are in love, then I really do not see the problem. These people are not hurting anybody else by being in love, and they should be given the same respect as anybody else. You may wonder how something like this could happen, or why they don't just find somebody unrelated to themselves to be intimate with. That might make it easier for society at large, but it is avoiding the issue, which is that there is a relationship that is making people feel uncomfortable. Where does that discomfort come from? It comes from ignorance and prejudice. It comes from it being outside the scope of one's imagination to perceive these relationships as healthy and happy. Why should somebody have to find somebody else when they are already with somebody that they are in love with? Logically, they shouldn't have to, and it is cruel to force them to. How would you like it if you were banned from being with your partner or spouse? Think about that for a moment. It helps to try to put yourself in our shoes for a moment. Why inflict that sort of pain on somebody else when there is absolutely no valid reason for doing so? People fall in love all the time, and it is the same for incest couples. Whether it is a GSA situation or not, the process of falling in love is the same, and the feelings are very real, often very intense. The family bond and the lover's bond are experienced at the same time. It's a unique and special kind of love referred to as double love within the community. Most people I think find the concept to be difficult to understand because it is outside what most people can imagine. Yet it exists, and it makes these relationships unlike any other. By comparison, to many of us it makes other relationships lack depth. This is because the family bond aspect is missing. This is why when people say we should just find somebody else because there are plenty more fish in the sea, I point out that we just don't want to, and why should we when we are happy in these relationships? I understand that this may be very difficult for you to get your head around, and I am glad that you're listening to this video and at least trying to understand. That alone makes you a far better person than somebody who simply calls in the police. I will advise you to ask these people the questions you need to know. Don't give them the third degree or start shouting at them. Just sit down and have a conversation. Listen to them, and you may be pleasantly surprised at the answers they give you. Remember, these are the same people you've always known. They don't morph into perverts or monsters because their sexuality is not what you expected it to be. Also do not fear that because they are consanguineous that they will necessarily be interested in having sexual encounters with other family members. That is not the case. If you're straight you won't want to sleep with every member of the opposite sex. If you're gay or lesbian, You won't want to sleep with every member of the same sex, and you guessed it, consanguineous people don't want to sleep with their whole family either. The mutual attraction has to be there for anything to happen. Give your consanguineous friends and family the love and acceptance they deserve, even if it feels weird to you at first. Believe me, if they came out to you, they trust you to be able to do just that. If they came out to you, they took a great risk in doing so, because you could potentially be the one to land them in jail. Please don't do that. Mutual understanding and respect is what is needed, not condemnation. It is the condemnation that is the cause of family rifts when incest is discovered, not the relationships themselves. Furthermore, if you are simply suspecting that somebody may be in such a relationship, but you are not sure, I would advise you to not say anything until you do know for sure. If you're wrong, it could make you look rather foolish, and if you're right, you will put the couple on the defensive, where they will go further into the closet and you will never know for sure. Our people put up with so much prejudice and hate already. Could you be one to accept us for what we are? Don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. For more information, go to www.consanguinemery.wordpress.com and read my articles. Also visit the other websites I linked in my useful links section. By doing this, you will learn everything you need to know.